Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Monday morning to you all. Hope you guys are waking up and feeling good out there this morning. I know it's Monday. It's probably kicking your butt a little bit. For me, I feel pretty good, refreshed from, all the chaos of last week and the winter weather, historic snowstorm. I've gotten a lot of rest personally over the last few days, so I'm feeling pretty good, ready to take on the new week. So I hope you guys are too, and certainly having a wonderful start to your new week. Here to talk about the weather. So the first thing we'll do this morning is spend some time speaking on what's to come. So January is about to end, been a wild month. It's definitely felt like winter for a lot of folks, especially across the central and eastern U.S. So the big question is, what's next? What's February going to bring? I think it's going to bring some wild swings, but we're going to talk about what we do know, kind of keep it about a week to as much as around 10 days ahead of us. Don't want to get too far out, but we'll take a look at all model guidance. It's not going to get super detailed because, of course, we don't have the details. We don't even know if some of this stuff is actually going to happen, but we are going to speak on some of the things we do know and just the pattern coming up. So we'll talk about rain, snow, we'll talk about some severe weather opportunities this week. So we'll speak on it all. And after we get done doing that, we will talk about today's weather. Definitely an interesting setup across areas of the Great Lakes region. Southern Ontario, the Northeast later on today with a snow squall that potentially moves in for your overnight hours for some areas. For some areas, it'll probably happen later this afternoon into this evening. So we'll speak on all that. If you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. Almost at 100K. I think we're going to inch our way to it from here on out just because there's not any crazy weather ongoing. So nothing's really going to kind of bring a huge spike of growth to the channel. So we're probably just going to inch our way to that 100K mark, which I'm totally cool with. It's been a wild journey and a lot of growth this month for sure. So if you guys got anything that I can pray about or pray over, as always, please put it in the comments below. Let's get rocking and rolling this morning. So this is what we got. We're going to start off by always speaking on what the experts say at the National Weather Service Climate Prediction Center. And this is the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. Then we'll take a look at the precipitation outlook. But this is taking us from February 1st through the 5th of February. So we're speaking a little bit ahead. We kind of have a pretty good idea of what's going to happen between now and the end of the month. A little bit of severe weather, but we're going to speak on it all. But speaking a little bit far out in advance here, the 1st through the 5th of February, going for above average temperatures in this red, orange area. High confidence in that, in this color right here, kind of this bright red, 70% chance of temperatures being above normal. This is 60, this is 50, this is 40, and this is 33. And then we have a shot at below average temperatures for areas in the blue and the lighter shade of blue. The darker shade of blue is where they have higher confidence percentage-wise. So that's a 70% chance of below average temperatures, 60, 50, 40, 33. In the middle, that's kind of a shot at average temperatures. I think this will be where I would say the temperature gradient will be, kind of the battleground between two air masses, if you will. Will these colder than average temperatures eventually scoot to the east? I think they will, but how far to the east is the big question. Next thing you look at is the precipitation outlook. Now, I will tell you, I think most of the country is going to remain around average precipitation or slightly to maybe a good bit above average precipitation in this 5-day or 4-day time frame. So the only area that might remain somewhat dry and not as wet is maybe areas of the deep south and the southwest and the southern high plains. But I definitely think the jet is going to be really kind of buckled up to the north, which means most of our energy is going to be pretty much hanging out to the north. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to get showers and storms, especially down here for the deep south, but I think most of our, I would say, compact storm systems are going to be further up north. Now, if we go back to the temperature outlook and we take it to the 8 to 14 day outlook, and let's kind of a reminder of when this goes through, the 3rd through the 9th of February. So we're almost getting through the first, 1/3. Got to remember February only has 28 days. I think it only has 28 days this year. What is the leap year? Sometimes we got February 29th. But anyways, let's not get too sidetracked here. So as you notice, the below average temperatures begin to kind of ooze east and begin to take over the the central U.S. The eastern U.S., especially the southeast, starts to get to, remains with above average temperatures. And this is your typical La Nina type look. I mean, it's not like we're in a strong La Nina right now. We kind of delayed the process of going to what you consider a La Nina, and I don't look much into that. I think last week and the week before is a great example of why you don't always base an entire winter forecast off of it's El Nino, La Nina. You know, last year we had El Nino, and we thought, hey, it's going to be this awesome winter for the South, and it absolutely was not. For some areas, you know, they got a good bit of snow, like Tennessee, surrounding states, but for most, it was a non-event as far as winter weather. We've already had one heck of a winter already across the deep South and the Southeast and portions of the Mid-Atlantic. So, and, you know, we've been pretty much in a La Nina at least for a few weeks now. But anyways, below average temperatures out west continue. The northern sections of the country below average temperatures. And like I said, the southeast is going to be with above average temperatures. Now, if we look at the precipitation outlook in this, remember this doesn't always mean rain or snow. It could be one or the other, something in between. But most of the country remaining at least with a slightly above average precipitation chance. Now, the southwest and the southern high plains continues to remain probably leaning towards a little bit more drier conditions, but we'll certainly see what happens here. Now, let's take a look at the Euro. What is the Euro saying? Is there any storm systems to watch? Anything the models are latching onto? So we will start off by Tuesday morning. We've been speaking on this pretty heavily. We've been showing you the 500 millibar chart a lot. Not going to show that to you this morning. Just going to kind of give you the, I guess you would say, the cut and dry information. But there is a system right here across the southwest. It's brought some much needed rain across areas of the southwest and the wildfire stricken areas and things like that. But this will continue to kind of make its way across the four corner states. And as it does, it'll bring a push of moisture into Texas. This will bring a severe weather opportunity for at least Wednesday into Thursday. We'll see if it goes into Friday. But for now, we're more highly confident on it being Wednesday into Thursday. At the same time, we're going to have multiple pieces of energy from the northern stream that kind of rides down this trough out of Canada into the northeast. This will continue to bring kind of blasts of snow, clippers, if you will. But we continue. Here comes another clipper riding a little bit further north because the the ridge begins to spike a little bit more north. And here's all this rain across areas of Texas, Oklahoma. This is mainly rain. Once upon a time, we thought, hey, there was a chance for a high-impact winter storm, maybe as far east as the panhandle of Texas, Oklahoma. Looks like we've turned away from that, but we are definitely going to get some snow in Colorado. But we continue. Here comes another clipper. This is riding so far north it almost misses the northeast completely. And then this is when we have big question marks. So this is the latest Euro, and we're getting into Friday morning, the 31st. Time frames are up here and up here. So we're getting around Friday morning. Now, a lot of cold air for this system to work with, so this is a big old rainmaker for most of the Midwest. I mean, there's pockets of cold air with this upper level low, but I mean, it's not really dealing with a cold air source. But eventually it runs into a cold air source right here. And then this is when we could get a sneaky winter storm for areas of maybe southern Ontario, the northeast, as we're getting into this weekend. And we just got to watch this. If you look really closely, you can't see a whole lot from this. There's not a whole lot going on. This is like Friday night and a Saturday, and we'll see what the latest 06Z, I mean, it's even further north, so it's even warmer of a run. But, it does show this stripe of accumulating snow right in here. I certainly just want to watch this storm system. It's kind of going back and forth. I think models are just struggling trying to figure this one out. But once we move past this, what's next after that? I think that once we get past this storm system this weekend, it'll take forever to move across the country. This is when things get weird, in my opinion. So we're starting to get into February. This is February 2nd, about 6 days from now. Here comes another huge clipper that swings down. I don't even have a whole lot of cold air to work with. And then this is when we have a pretty stout temperature gradient that starts to set up over the northern Rockies. And I think we start to get a lot of winter weather across the northern Rockies. The southern and central Rockies, I think for the most part, stays calm. But we start to get between that 7 to 10 day frame. And there's like this, I wouldn't call it zonal because it is at an angle, but there's kind of just this temperature gradient across the middle of the country. And models are struggling to kind of resolve what happens here. And we start to get into about the day 10 mark, and finally you get a system that kind of gets going. And this turns into some sort of winter weather event. And you can see what I'm saying. There's an overrunning event, but it's not an overrunning event for like areas of the south. It's pretty far north because all the cold air is bottled up in Canada. But there is some sort of, I know I keep saying it, temperature gradient separating very warm air with very cold air right up into here. Now, the tip, models are bouncing back and forth with this. For example, the last run, it was around the same area, but it's a more of a beefed up system. A lot more moisture with it. Very long system. But if you look at the current run, it's weaker. But there's something there just past that day 10 frame. And, who knows, that could bring something to the northeast. And then we start to get into kind of no man's land. We get really far out. And who knows what's going to happen after that, But what I'm noticing on most long-range model guides is the cold air is really bottled up to the north. So if you look at the latest GFS, what does it show? We get this in motion. Here comes our upper level low that begins to pivot across the middle of the country, bringing a lot of rain for areas of Oklahoma, Texas, some severe weather opportunities, which we'll focus a little bit more detailed on here in a second. And, roll the screen down a little bit. We start to get into Thursday. We got that Wednesday and a Thursday. We got that snow flying around across Colorado. And then the system begins to eject. It kind of flattens out. And it starts to tap into a better cold air source, just like the Euro. So you can see that 540 line right here. So we know there's cold air at least aloft. So this begins to head north into this. And like I said, this is where you have to watch out for a quick hitting winter storm. GFS a little bit more aggressive with it. And really, most of the system is rain, but that northern section of the system is snow. So with the GFS, it does have a snow event for areas of southern New England, the Northeast Friday night. Well, it starts kind of Friday afternoon into Friday night. We get into Saturday morning, and we got this stripe of accumulating snow. I mean, eventually it switches to all snow over New York City. We get snow in Boston. But it's a very tight corridor. I mean, it's not very large at all. But this is something we watch. Models are struggling to resolve this a lot. So there's no point in getting super detailed with it. We'll talk about the ensemble guidance as far as snow here in a second. So bear with me. But we continue to move past that time frame. And, this is the kind of the area where it gets weird. And here comes a bit beefed up, aggressive looking clipper. We'll have to watch that as we get into the end of this coming weekend. And then there's that zonal flow. You can tell that all the cold air is bottled up here. There's some sort of gradient between that 540 line. All the lines are bundled up here. That means we got a lot of cold air right up in here, a lot of warm air to the south for early February standards. We start to get into the 3rd of February. We start to get into the 4th. And we got some sort of running ongoing right here across the middle of the country. But does that cold air slip south? No, not really. We get about 10 days out, and here comes another overrunning setup, but this is mainly a kind of winter weather change into rain type event for a lot of areas. I'll tell you one area that has just not seen a major winter storm in a long time is Chicago. I don't know why these storms are missing to your north, especially to your south. I think we had a system last year that was supposed to be a big winter storm, and I don't think it materialized into one because of how warm the lakes were. But, man, Chicago has not had a big winter storm in quite some time. But anyways, getting a little off track there. But this is just like a big winter weather mess turning into rain because of the ridge flex. We get past day 10. Here comes a cutter. It's just, you just see the general pattern. There's a lot of storm systems flying across the country. I think the GFS actually reflects the pattern better than the Euro. It has more energy flying across. We got this big cutter, getting into the first weekend of February, the pattern supports something like that. Cold air kind of flies in behind that, and then we get this rain changing to snow event across the Ohio Valley. No, this is a forecast. And then right at the end of the run, it looks like cold air begins to kind of ooze down into the eastern U.S. But, big question is winter a wrap in the eastern U.S.? And I don't think it is. I think things are going to get more favorable for the back half of winter. That's my gut feeling. Models aren't really showing that yet, but I don't think we're in range of the better time period for the eastern U.S. But as far as severe weather, I keep mentioning Wednesday, Thursday, here this Wednesday, not next Wednesday, this Wednesday and to Thursday, folks. We have a slight risk. I don't think this is going to be a huge event right now, but you know how this goes. A lot of times it'll start out as a slight risk, and then all of a sudden it'll upgrade to an enhanced risk, and it's a bigger deal than what we thought it was going to be. But there is a slight risk, level 2 out of 5 risk of severe weather down here in areas kind of like the Big Hill country of Texas into the central Texas region. slight risk level 2 out of 5. And what we just know is there's a 15% risk of severe weather, and we got a marginal risk that stretches from the Mexico-Texas border all the way up into the Dallas-Fort Worth area, almost all the way up to, oh, it does. It goes all the way up to the Red River. So we got to watch out for some severe weather here. And then we look at the day 4 outlook, which takes us into Thursday. Shifted a little bit further south. So south of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, San Antonio, up to College Station, Waco, Austin's included in this, LaGrange, Columbus, Texas. So 15% risk of severe weather within 25 miles of a given location. That could be hail, that could be tornadoes, that could be, it could be winds, strong winds. So we'll watch. And what we know is the overlapping conditions will be there for some areas. Here's the dew point. So this is moisture at the surface. Dew points, once you get into the 60s, you start to feel that humidity in the air. That feeds these storms, that humid, moist air. So we start to get into Wednesday afternoon. You can tell pocket of moist air begins to bubble up with these dew points above 60 degrees. You're getting into the low to mid 60s in certain areas. It's downright humid down here in Brownsville, Texas. And then we start to get into Thursday. And I think models kind of disagree with one another on where the moist air will be. But I honestly would favor like Thursday morning over Thursday afternoon for severe weather for areas of the country. But I can see the severe weather threat kind of shifting east, maybe closer to the Texas-Louisiana state line for Thursday afternoon. But you got plenty of moisture and moist air down here at the surface for eastern Texas, southern Texas. It's crazy. You guys were dealing with a snowstorm, but you're probably about to deal with a lot of moist air. It's going to feel like severe weather season here in the next couple of days in this area. But not really unusual stuff as far as severe weather in January or February. What's the unusual thing is the snow, which y'all got last week. But you mix and match or overlap, underlap, whatever, the ingredients. That was thermodynamics, and this is kinematics. And I'm not going to show you the CAPE levels because I don't think global models do the best job with trying to figure out how much storm fuel is in the atmosphere, which is those CAPE levels. But let's take a look at the 500 millibar flow and what we know with this cutoff low, this upper level low moving into the area. It brings southwesterly flow aloft with it, and that overlaps all that moist air. So you see these wind barbs pointing this way. That means you got winds coming out of the southwest to the northeast. So we got that southwesterly flow helping to bring in that moist air from the south. And this is kinematics. It's another ingredient for severe weather, and we'll certainly have it. A lot of wind energy is probably the best and easiest way to put it. A lot of wind energy, a lot of moisture at the surface, ingredients for severe weather. We'll be yapping a lot about that when we get closer to spring for sure. So I've said this many times. My favorite weather to talk about is winter weather. My second is the tropics. And then a very far away third is severe weather. I enjoy being out in the elements and kind of chasing severe weather. Talking about it ahead of time is something that it's not my favorite. I don't dislike it, but I don't like severe weather because it's just so dangerous. I mean, hurricanes and tropics are dangerous too, obviously, but man, it's just the sadness that can come with some of the severe weather outbreaks is really terrible. But continuing to move forward, talking about the winter weather side of this pattern, as we're getting into, this is Thursday morning into Friday morning, so the 30th into the 31st. The Weather Prediction Center, the winter weather outlook, is honking the horn here at a decent winter storm. You know, if you live in this green area, it's where we have a 30 to 50% chance of accumulating winter weather. The technical thing to say is the probability of exceeding a quarter-inch liquid equivalent of snow and sleet. This will probably be snow in this case. So accumulating winter weather is what I like to say, and it's certainly there for areas of Colorado. Not much of a signal for Denver, but this could shift a little bit. But certainly got to watch out for this region right here where Oklahoma, New Mexico, even Texas, and Colorado connect. A shot for a decent winter weather event. I don't think this is going to be huge right now, but we get into Saturday, not a whole lot. We get into Sunday, and this is Saturday morning into Sunday, and the Weather Prediction Center is, mentioning the fact that we could have a winter storm, where I showed you kind of towards the beginning of the video. The GFS and the Euro disagree. GFS more snowier. But it is saying, hey, around a 10 to as much as a 30% chance of accumulating winter weather, in this case, snow or sleet, in this light green area. This does include New York City, Boston, Hartford, Providence, Concord. Binghamton does include Scranton, not quite down to Philadelphia or DC, though. So we'll watch out for this. And this is Sunday into Monday. Chances are a little bit more widespread and a little bit better once you get up here in the northeast, further up in the New England area. So, moving past this and just kind of continuing to talk about snow here. This is kind of the footprint of snow. This is the Euro Ensemble and 3-day periods, kind of 72-hour time frames here. So what you're going to notice is there's going to be a lot of snow showing up, kind of coming in at an angle out of Canada into the Great Lakes region in the Northeast. That's our kind of continuous feed from the northern stream, clippers, if you will. And then you got this area right here. This is from our upper level low. And then you're going to see some sort of connection here. And boom, you see a spike in the Northeast right here. This is for the signal for our winter storm this weekend for the Northeast, so New England. So we'll have to watch for that. Outside of that, the Northern Rockies finally started getting some snow. You guys have certainly been starved of this. I'm not sure if it's enough to say ski resorts are suffering from it. You guys will have to let me know if you're tuning in from out west how the ski resorts are doing. But certainly, there's been no high impact winter out here at all. But in general, you keep going past the day 7 period, and you notice there's no real signal for snow far south. It's all kind of bottled up to the north up here. You can tell that the jet stream is just further up north. But as you get towards, I would say as you get past the day 10 time frame, the signal begins to kind of ooze south again. And we start to get way out here, and it just gets kind of everywhere. So in general, there's no real area to watch except maybe the Northeast this weekend and, of course, Colorado and surrounding states over the next couple of days, and then the Rockies. But as far as any other high-impact winter storm that you can sit here and say, okay, we really need to watch this, I would say there's not much out there except for the Northeast and New England for this weekend. And I don't think that's going to be a high-impact, like a major winter storm by any means. Now, what I can tell you, a lot of rain can come from this pattern. This is between now and we're just going to keep it between now and the next 5 days. So this entire work week, we're just going to have a lot of areas of energy kind of shooting across this region. So Arkansas, the Arklatex, southeast Oklahoma, areas of northern Louisiana, heck, even northwestern Mississippi, western Tennessee, getting all the way into Kentucky, Boot Hill, Missouri, southern Illinois, even southern Indiana. A lot of rain in this area. We'll zoom in. This kind of brighter shade of red, that's where they're calling for 3 inches of rain over the next 5 days. It might come in waves. It might come all at once. But, you start to kind of get into this area, 2.5 around Shreveport, Dallas, same thing. This purple color right here, that's 2 inches. And definitely a lot of rain, guys, in this area. This is not snow. This is what comes when you have a ridge flexing over the southeast. A lot of times all your energy flies across this region. But there's no cold air source to work with here. So this isn't going to be winter weather. I know this shows up as precipitation, but this is all rain right in here. All rain. So definitely a winter thaw ongoing. So let's talk about today's weather. The southeast is getting a little bit of a wet southern slider. Not really any winter weather with this. Now, my buddy up here in northeast Tennessee, he said he woke up to a dusting, and he said that they're having a lot of mixing issues now. So it looks like this system, I wouldn't say underperformed, but got some flakes flying around with the rain up here in northeast Tennessee and surrounding states, but it's definitely not a big event. But the southeast, definitely a washout you're waking up to this morning, but this will all continue to clear on out, but definitely adding to some yearly rain totals. And we got this little gnarly spin here in Southern California, bringing some much needed rain and some higher elevation snow. And then you can see how your northern stream is pretty active up here and just bringing some energy. And there's going to be a snow squall that develops with a sharp cold front that really only affects the northeast. It'll bring some cooler air to the south, but it'll be very, very fleeting and not very cold for late January standards. But we're going to talk about this here in just a second a little bit more. But as far as watches, warnings, and advisories, we do have special weather statements, and it talks about this. It says a strong cold front, and I'm sorry, this is for the UP of Michigan. So I know I got people tuning in from this area. It says a strong cold front will move south across the area between 2 and 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And a heavy band of snow with snowfall rates up to an inch an hour will quickly move through the area. Could get 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts, so brief blizzard conditions are definitely possible. And this will sweep through this region. We'll probably get special weather statements all across lower Michigan, I think, later on today. We do have the winter weather advisories in Buffalo that expire tomorrow. Winter storm warnings off Lake Ontario for the Tuck Hill Plateau. We have those ongoing special weather statements for a little bit of a mix of rain and snow across these areas of Tennessee and surrounding states. And then we have some winter weather alerts across the Southwest going right now for the higher elevations, just getting some of that snow. But as far as, let's get this off, the risk of excessive rainfall, there's a small risk in LA point south, but not a big deal. And then thunderstorms, could get some thunderstorms across just south of Las Vegas into the Phoenix, Flagstaff area, LA point south. And then we could get some thunderstorms in Dixie, the deep south, but no severe weather expected. The southeast today, talking about that rain, will continue to be a soggy Monday. Definitely not going to help with anybody that's got the Monday blues. It'll kind of just amplify the mood, but we'll continue to deal with the rain showers in Atlanta, point south. Down to Mobile. We're going to get the rain on top of the maybe a little bit of snow still left on the ground. In fact, I know it is in certain areas of Charleston. I had some people take pictures of me. What's wild is we only got an inch of snow last Tuesday here in Columbia, South Carolina. And, I was going to church yesterday morning, and it was still on the ground in certain little areas. I'm always fascinated to see in the South how long the snow sticks around, but I guess it just tells you how cold it's been. But I think a lot of any snow left over on the ground, the Eastern Carolinas will certainly get washed away with this rain. But this will continue. This is getting into this afternoon. We'll continue to deal with some rain in southern Georgia, Eastern Carolinas. And then I think by the time we wake up tomorrow morning, things will be calming down and we'll wake up to a better day. And then we'll really start our warming trend as we start to get into tomorrow going forward. I think we'll wake up to a chilly morning, but it might be your last chilly morning for quite some time. For example, in Columbia, I made a tweet yesterday saying, I think yesterday morning, Sunday morning, was our last below freezing temperatures that we'll experience for at least the next 10 days. So definitely our winter thaw is game on now. Now the Northeast, it's a quiet morning, but you see all that blue kind of coming in from the north out of Canada. This is going to be some blustery snow. So this is around 8, 9, 10 p.m. You see this darker shade of blue right here? That is a cold front with a snow squall associated with it. We'll have snow out ahead of this. So, this is around late evening. We got snow flying around in the southern tier of New York, northwest PA, some snow all the way down to Ohio, snow starting to move into the Adirondacks of New York, northern Vermont, New Hampshire, and then the snow will start to move. And then this snow squall will sweep across southern Ontario areas of Quebec later tonight. So don't let this catch you by surprise. A lot of people have been watching this for a while. Man, you're going to hear this one. This is going to blast through, but I think by the time it gets down into New York, it'll start to weaken somewhat. Still a cold front, obviously, but maybe not as crazy weather associated with it, but it certainly could be. But this will blast through Cleveland, through Buffalo, like in the wee hours of the morning, after midnight probably. And then eventually it'll try to make it all the way to New York City tomorrow morning, Boston. But I'm not sure if it'll have a lot of snow associated with it at that point anymore. But we'll certainly watch it. But definitely some accumulating snow off this. And then another clipper will follow in behind this as we're getting into late tomorrow. But we will just focus in on today and tonight in this video. But this is snowfall between now and the next 48 hours, so a little bit of accumulating snow up in northern Maine. Not a whole lot expected from any of this up here. Now we do dip a little bit further south into New York. Definitely going to get some more snow. Watertown going for 8 to 9 inches. The Tuck Hill Plateau, if you see the color key down here, anywhere from, 8 to 12 inches of snow. Syracuse, 2 to 3. Binghamton, maybe an inch. Buffalo going for around 5 to 6 inches of snow. So maybe a few tenths of an inch of snow even outside of kind of the western sections of the Northeast. So we'll see about that, but we will dip it even a little bit further south. So we'll go down to PA, Erie going for 4 to 5, Jamestown, same thing. Pittsburgh, maybe just shy of an inch. Same thing with State College, St. Mary's. And then I'll take a look at Ohio. What we're looking at here, Cleveland can get an inch, maybe an inch and a half. Same thing with Akron, Youngstown. So not a whole lot once you get into southwestern Ohio. But the south central U.S., quiet weather. Some moist air will continue to affect you guys down here for the deep southern sections of Texas. So we'll continue to get some rain showers. And by the time waking up tomorrow morning, these will start to ooze a little bit further north, all the way to just south of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But weather today in the south central U.S. is pretty chill, pretty calm. North central U.S., same thing. Going to have some snow out ahead of this main cold front, but here comes this big, sharp cold front blasting through the UP. For example, this is around 4 to 8 p.m. I know that's a wide range, but don't let this thing catch you by surprise, guys. You know, it might come through a little bit earlier, maybe right around where some of the kids are getting out of school. It might come in like around rush hour up here. But this snow squall will come in from north to south, and it'll bring brief blizzard conditions, I think. And then it'll sweep across lower Michigan, might lose some punch, and then we'll get a little bit of lake effect snow to follow after that in the eastern UP. And then after that, another clipper will fly through and drop some light to moderate snowfall accumulations across the area. And it's just going to be a wintry week up here. You know, and we take it all the way out to the middle of the night, Tuesday night to Wednesday morning, and we got some pretty aggressive looking heavy snow squalls kind of moving through in the UP and Michigan. So you guys definitely are in the avenue of the northern stream, so you'll continue to get a lot of snow up here. And snowfall just between now and the next 48 hours. Houghton over 5 inches, Marquette over 4, and then you get into the eastern UP. I mean, over 6 inches of snow is forecasted. So we take it down to the lower Michigan area, and definitely more snow is forecast for northern lower Michigan, several inches of snow. You get south, and this snow squall could bring some light snowfall accumulations, not expecting much though. Out west, the only storyline is this little spin down here in southern Cal, down here into Arizona. Higher elevation snow, some lower elevation rain showers. But I don't expect much from this at all. The higher elevations will try to squeeze as much moisture out of this as possible, but even that, I don't think it'll be a lot. Temperatures today, I mean, it's pretty much above average for everybody. I mean, even up north, before this cold front moves in, which you can see it right there, you're going to have a brief spike in the temperatures. But I mean, this is cold, but this is certainly not below average temperatures for this time of the year. We're actually going to try to climb into the 50s, where you don't get a lot of cloud cover and rain in Virginia. Florida will be nice, 60s and 70s. Even southern Georgia will be nice. And it'll just be a chilly day across the south, but this is mainly just because of cloud cover and rain. If you didn't have that, you'd probably climb all the way up into the 60s. But definitely warm. I mean, almost into the 50s it probably will get into the 50s in like southern areas of South Dakota. And, you know, it's pretty warm for the most part across areas of the western U.S. The only area that, you know, will be below average temperatures is this kind of area right here where you have that upper level low. So, folks, that's all I got. Thank y'all for tuning in. It is just kind of a midwinter break right now. But that's not a break for everybody. I can only speak for areas of the South, but I mean, it looks like winter's just going to be kind of shunted up to the north, where winter weather typically always is. But it's definitely just kind of a thaw coming up. But listen, I'm telling you, I think that once we get into the middle to later portion of January, I think we're going to have an opportunity for a late winter push for even areas further south. You got to remember, you know, one thing to keep in mind is growing up, I know for me, I'm 33, I think we've had some of our wildest winter storms in late February, early March for the Southeast. I mean, we've had some big winter storms in March, but, you know, some big winter storms that come to mind here in late February is like the 2004 event for the Carolinas. I mean, we had 2015 was a wild kind of late winter push in the Carolinas and the Southeast and the Deep South. And so, you know, late February can be wild. It's been non-existent lately, that's for sure. But, you know, don't give up on winter. Let's enjoy the warmth. I know I am. I'm about to start. I coach soccer for people who don't know, and our soccer starts here in a couple weeks. So I'll be nice to get out there in some of the warm weather But I just got a hunch that winter is going to return at some point. But we'll see what happens. God bless all y'all. Have a wonderful start to your day, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow.